Hello, I'm Liz Lumley from Finextra, and today I'm speaking to Susan Skerritt of Deutsche Bank. Now, you've recently been named Regional Head for Americas for the Global Transaction Bank, but you've actually been in the transaction banking space for quite a while now. So can you tell us, what you're seeing?
Liz, it's a very interesting question. What I'm seeing, and as you know, I just joined Deutsche Bank recently, so I have a perspective about what's going on in the banking industry more broadly. And what we're seeing is that banks are focused on their organizational structures, internal organizational structures. If you think about the way in which individual transaction banking businesses evolved, they evolved in silos. So very specific capabilities around cash management, trade, securities processing. But the difficulty with that is that they in fact maintain those silos and haven't been communicating as effectively as they should be. So what we're seeing is that more and more banks are really looking at their internal organizational structure to ensure that they are delivering a more holistic view to the client. One of the reasons that I joined Deutsche Bank is because Deutsche Bank has had an integrated global transaction banking business for some time.
Yeah, I was about to say they started that sort of organizational reorg a while ago.
Exactly. So there has been that kind of interaction, that kind of awareness of how the client views the different businesses and ensuring that we're delivering in a more comprehensive way. The other element of this that I think is very important is the way in which the global transaction banking business works with the other parts of the organization. Because obviously, using Deutsche Bank as an example, we have investment banking functions, we have corporate finance functions, and we've done, I think, a pretty good job of linking those so that there is active, regular communication, so that when we're talking with a client, the people that are having those conversations are appropriately representing all parts of the bank, not just global transaction banking.
I talk to a lot of people in transaction banking, and you hear a lot that the client is the center of our business. But what does that really mean?
Client-centricity. It is, I think, a very important element of what banks are thinking about. But it's very difficult to actually deliver that well. Having the client at the center of everything means that you are constantly thinking about what the client needs, not what you're delivering, not what you're producing, but what does the client need? And I think that requires people that really understand their clients, understand the issues they face, understand the regulatory environment in which our clients are operating. That understanding is absolutely essential. But it also requires people who listen to the client and listen carefully to what their issues are internally as well as that external perspective. The other element of client centricity is being there for your clients in the long run. One of the things that we saw during the credit crisis was many banks pulled back, and they had to pull back. But that long-term relationship is really, I think, a central component of client centricity. And Deutsche Bank is really finding that because it stuck with clients in some of the more difficult times, that's paying off for us now. That relationship that we established and that we maintained even during tough times means that we're in it for the long run for our clients.
So you talked a bit about what client centricity means to the bank, but what can Deutsche Bank really do to improve that overall customer experience?
Well, and what I'm going to describe, Liz, is not just what Deutsche Bank is doing, but I think what all banks can do to improve the way in which they focus on their clients. So I think there are some very essential things. First of all, the banks need to understand what is important to the client. What is the essential requirement that a client has for the bank? Second, they need to be developing the right products and services to meet those needs. Absolutely essential that they are constantly thinking about how what they're delivering can meet a need, but more importantly, what do they need to develop? What do they need to innovate to meet the needs going forward. And that requires an understanding of the broad marketplace, the regulatory environment, et cetera. So those are, I think, three essential things that banks should be doing to meet the needs of their clients, and things that I believe Deutsche Bank does very well.
One of the key themes of Sibos this year is operational excellence, sort of improving efficiency through innovation and collaboration. So again, I really want to get your expertise on this. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. Well, operational excellence is all about doing things more effectively at a reasonable cost in a way that you're delivering the best products, the best capabilities to your client. And so operational excellence, I think, covers a whole array of activities within an organization. I want to touch on innovation because I think innovation is something that many banks are focused on. It is a very important element of the global transaction banking space. But I think it's a complex concept for many people to understand. Innovation is not just about having that brilliant new idea, but it's also how well you deliver and execute on that idea. And that's where I think innovation ties to operational excellence. A famous innovator once said that invention without execution is hallucination. And so when we think about innovation and operational excellence, it comes down to you may have a terrific idea, but unless you operationally execute really well, you're not, in fact, going to be able to deliver on that innovation.
And it's also what the clients need as well, and how it works on the client side as well.
Absolutely. And so that goes back to how do you come up with that idea? And the best way to come up with an idea is to talk with clients about what they need and to understand what their issues are. In my experience, innovation is sparked most creatively from those conversations with clients, from being close to a client so that you really do understand and have a sense, even if the client isn't able to articulate it, what innovation, what idea is going to make a difference to that client going forward.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.